Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
hey,
Armchair updates. Oh, hey, what's up, Tony?
nope. Hey,
Hey, Tony just got here. He just walked in. I swear that's why he did that. Because he just walked in and just got here. Uh, so, Armchair updates. This is the AFL Week 4 preview. We've got Tony. We have Cleveland Mark. Mark, thanks for
Memphis
taking some
Sparrows,
time
Mark.
yes.
out of a Memphis Mark. Yeah, Memphis Mark. Okay, I'm used to calling in my head he's Cleveland Mark for you AVL guys, but yeah, this is Memphis Mark. And Mark, thank you for coming and hanging out and looking at Week 4. I wanted to ask you first off, how are you doing in your other leagues?
It's been a pretty crappy start. You talking about just football?
Yeah.
With so I the very first week I scored 188 points in my other 12 team, and one big was clearly the point leader that week. This week I scored 96 with the same exact lineup. So it's been all over the place. So I'm 1-2 in that league. Yeah, this is the league I finished second last year. Lost the championship when Kamara went nuts in the championship game. He scored like 50 points, I think.
Yeah, went nuts.
Yeah, I've got Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill. My running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Damian Harris. I've got Stephon Diggs. So it's a really strong team, but they just
that's a lot of underperforming. Yeah, that's a lot of underperforming
really
guys that should be a lot better than they are. Especially last week, like kind of all together. Hopkins, Hill, Taylor, all kind of sucked.
They all died. I've never had this team has never been below 100 points all last year or this year, and it's just one of those starts of the year. Yeah, it's Dynasty. Yeah,
sounds like a good team.
I also had that's the league I had Etienne in, and lost him before the season even started. But I probably wasn't going to use him that much, at least to start with. So yeah, it's been a bad start there. And then in my 30-team IDP league, I lost by 8. I lost by 8, and then I won by 11. So really close games. So I'm 1-2 in that one as well. So I'm 1-2 in all 3. What's that?
How many IDP do you use in that league?
9. We start 9.
Oh, wow.
There are 40-man rosters.
That's a big roster.
Yeah, 40-man rosters, start 9D, start 9 offense, and it's best ball. So, you have all 40 available to you, or as many as you have on your roster available to you, and you get the best scoring 9 on offense and best scoring 9 on defense. But yeah, I mean, I finished middle of the pack last year in that league. Probably going to do about the same this year. It's I'm still kind of building. I've got like 6 first-round draft picks in the next 2 years, so I've been really kind of doing what I do in the ABL in that league. So
that seems kind of like a thing with you, almost.
Yeah,
stashing high draft picks.
Some leagues it is. I'm addicted to rebuilding, I guess. I don't know.
Man, in a 30-team. Do you remember, like, when did you do the draft for that? I'm just curious, like, how highly they value IDP in a 30-teamer where you start 9. Like, where do the defensive players start going in a draft, or was it an auction?
It was an auction. It's salary cap contract league, so they started right off the bat. It was a league where I think we nominated 1 each, maybe. It might have been more than that, but they went pretty quick. And some of your top IDP guys went for $8, $9, $10 million it's a $100 million cap. So they went pretty high.
Okay. Damn, 9 IDP. I can't even imagine. I've played in one where you start 3, and that is a lot for me. Yeah, I'm not much of an IDP guy. Tony, you an IDP guy at all?
Yeah, most of the leagues that Vince runs, that Vince is in our league, I'm in a few that he runs. He's big IDP, but we only do like 1 lineman, 1 linebacker, and 1 DB. So, like, are your 9 IDP? Do they have to be anything specific, or
they have to be at least 2 linebackers and 2 defensive ends, and then the other 5 can be one defensive tackle, one corner, one safety, and then the other two can be any of the positions.
Okay. So you kind of have to field a lineup more or less.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's similar to ABL in that you have to have a lot of depth. It's very important to have that depth, especially in best ball situation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, especially bye weeks and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And see, the thing is, with a 30-teamer, you're only going to have one quarterback on your roster, maybe two if you're lucky. But one quarterback, and then, of course, that bye week, you're just going without quarterback points. So one of those things.
Hoping to get a good head-to-head matchup that week, maybe.
Exactly.
Going against somebody else missing a QB. Or
how's the scheduling work? Like, because you're not – I mean, are you playing multiple teams in a week or –
most weeks it's just one opponent, but there are a few that we have two matchups. I think there's like 2 or 3 weeks that we have two matchups. And then basically it's just like ABL at that point where your score goes against both of their scores, and so it's a fun league. I mean, it's a hard cap, so it's very difficult to trade. You have to really manage that cap closely. If you have injured players, you're probably dumping them to make a trade. So yeah, there's a lot of considerations to make. It's fun though. It's been a blast.
And we know how you're doing in the AFL. Another kind of I know for those of us that watched the preseason preview, Tony and I at least had picked your team as one of our favorites. It's been pretty. It's only 3 weeks in, but I think fair to say disappointing so far.
Yeah, it has been. It's I've had a lot of underperforming players there. Allen Robinson hadn't done much. Calvin Ridley has been okay, but nothing great.
Not
my
what
running
you wanted him
backs,
to be. Yeah.
Yeah, my running backs have been I mean, Zeke had a great week this week, and of course that helped win. Mark Andrews has been okay. My quarterbacks have been great. I mean, Mahomes and Stafford have been great, but I've got to get more production out of the skill positions. Ayuk or however you pronounce his name, has been just – I mean, he had 0 the first week. I got a starter that had 0 points, and nobody saw that coming. So yeah, it's been a crappy start for this league as well. But hey, I've matched my ABL total already in the AFL, so I'm good.
I watched that San Fran game of this week. They're the prime time, or whenever they played Green Bay. Wasn't that this Sunday? Whatever.
That was this last week. Yeah.
Watching them reminds me of like New Orleans last year. Like, oh, we'll bring in Trey Lance, the gold line. Oh, we're gonna go back to Garoppolo. Oh, we're gonna do all these guys. Like, I think they had Ayuk. Like, I think he was lined up at running back like a handful of plays. Like, I think they're trying to do the outsmart themselves thing. Like, they're not going to just let these guys play their roles and move on.
Mark, can you see Sam's chat on the side of the screen?
No.
Oh, there you go.
So Mark, Sam says right now he will trade you 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for Mahomes. Right now.
Yeah, Sam. Not happening, Sam.
Sorry, Sam. You got to try. I don't think he's going to do that, but he doesn't hurt to shoot your shot, I guess.
No. Yeah. Ayuk will go back in the lineup this week. I think he had a better week, and I see him trending upwards. Zach Moss will go back in the lineup this week. He had a better week. He's looking like the lead back there now that he's healthy. But I've got a tough matchup this week. I've got Jamal Swift or whatever that team's name is, and he's killing it.
Pretty much the number one team in the league right now, I think.
Yeah, with Sam Darnold leading the way. I mean, come on. Who saw that?
Sammy's. Let's before we'll break down your entire game, but Tony, do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to flip waivers and then
I was going to say,
since Sam is sitting here, we'll start with Sam's game since he happens to be sitting here watching.
Yeah.
And then
I'm going to put a timer right now, so I'm going to start waivers in a minute for those of you watching. But I mean, in a minute they'll be flipped. I don't know if it's going to flip waivers on or if they'll keep it to 2 a.m., but just giving everyone a warning. 1 minute
Mark,
starting now.
What is that shirt you're wearing, Mark?
Soccer. Orlando FC.
City. I thought this was a football podcast, right?
Yeah. MLS.
Football podcast, right?
All right. I'm what, Tony, you're an MLS
I got
guy
it this
too, Tony?
when I was there.
I used to referee soccer. I refereed like Division III soccer. I refereed soccer for, about 10, 12 years.
Well, and you played. Yeah, you played and then you refed, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, Mark, do you do any of the
I played in
EPL
high
on
school.
Fantrax or anything?
No, I haven't done the EPL yet, but I've thought about it. I just don't have time for some of these leagues anymore. I don't know how you guys do so many leagues. Three's killing me, and then I'm in the middle of this hockey auction, which is it really is. But I mean, I played soccer as a kid. I ref soccer for 5 years as well. So,
oh, awesome! You guys kind of had that in common. I didn't realize.
There you go.
Holy cow!
Sorry, that was my timer to make sure I didn't. No, since Mark brought it up, the reason that I said what I said to start the podcast, I was going to ask. So, hey, if the AHL thing goes, I wanted to claim the Blackhawks. That's what I was trying to say as we were going live. I thought we were still backstage because I didn't have the tab open.
It's all yours.
NHL teams, man. I don't want to gloat too much because it sucks that a guy, like whoever it was that said, I think it was Zach. That's like, hopefully he doesn't have health problems or something. But
he doesn't.
I can't help but feel a little.
Oh, he doesn't.
A little bit of personal validation that he didn't even make it to the end of his own initial draft. This guy. As much as he tried to talk down to me and tell me how great he was. Go ahead, Mark. Lay it on.
Yeah, he dumped he dumped everything. He quit all his leagues. He quit the teams. He quit everything. He just got away from it all. And I asked that question in the chat in the Discord. Yeah, he sold it all off.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I asked about the health issues. I go, seriously, is there any health issues with this guy? And they said, no, he was burnt out on it. The time commitment was too much, but he was still being that same jerky self. And, it's like, you're rubbing everybody the wrong way. It's either go check the Constitution or, let's change this rule in midstream, but not change this rule. And it's just, he was a clown.
A poorly written constitution. It was a constitution that he, cribbed from other leagues and then tried to make it fit into this hockey dynasty. And then when guys would bring something up that maybe wasn't addressed properly in the con or something like that, it would just be like, well, I mean, we don't need to rehash it. We know how he was, but it's just for anybody that followed that saga in the Discord and stuff, when I got kicked out of the league and then, Tony left and this guy has now abandoned his entire network that he reiterated to me so many times were the big leagues. And, this is, you're just not used to the big league. This blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. But the league is new guy, like you're still going with the league.
Yeah. The new guy is actually really good. He's listening to suggestions. He's making a few tweaks here and there. I think it's in pretty good hands now. But, I still want to start the AHL up at some point. Been working on the kind of the framework. In fact, I'll probably post something here in a week or so with an outline of what I'm looking at. And then I'd like to start inviting some of those owners from that league into the Armchair Discord and get them kind of up to speed on some things. I mean, the biggest issue is going to be finding 32 committed owners that are going to be into hockey and want to stick with it. Yeah. That's the toughest thing.
You've got roughly a year, maybe a little less if you want to get it up and going well before next season, but you've got some time.
I'm thinking I'm thinking starting the draft sometime after the Stanley Cup next year. So probably, late June or July, whenever that is. That way we'll have plenty of time to get everything up to speed. But I want to have everything hashed out. I'm going to bounce things off of you guys. I'm going to bounce things off of whoever else we invite in. It's going to be, I'm going to have a lot of input. We're not going to vote on a lot of things, but there'll be some things that we go back and forth on and make sure we get it right the first time if we can.
Good deal. That's what I'm looking for, man. Go ahead, Johnny.
Would you use Fantrax then, or is there any other platforms out there? I know Yahoo does hockey. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a big Yahoo or ESPN fan. Yeah, it'll be Fantrax for sure.
Yeah, no ESPN.
There's good news. I flipped the switch and no waivers got processed. And it's on a free-for-all. So everything should be good. Everyone's waivers will still run at the same time. And
2 a.m?
Yep. And after that, players should be free agents.
Cool. I'm going full disclosure. I have a massive bid on.
Oh, I know. I know.
I have a massive bid on Brissett. I'm trying to. It's not even so much for me. It's more a blocking move for people that might really need him or might want to start him this week or next. I'm going.
I told you I was going to. Go ahead, Mark.
So you're saying my $4 bid's not going to win him?
I am no bluff. Yeah, no bluff. We're not playing poker here. That $4 is not going to be good.
Alan brought that up, and I told him, I was really pushing to try to get this free agency thing last week because once I saw Brissett pass through waivers, I was like, I'll pick him up as a free agent.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah, Tony is very disappointed that didn't work out for him, but I think it's better this way that I get to pick him up. What is that? Is that
another one?
Delirium Tremens?
No, it's Shiner, yeah.
Wicked Juicy IPA. All right.
And my Sam Adams. I don't know if you guys are beer drinkers or not or whatever, but this Sam Adams beer glass is the best.
Is that the Turbulator? Is that
the perfect pint. Yep, it's that. Yep.
Yeah, those are the good glasses. Gives you the perfect pour.
Yep.
Every time.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we don't have any waivers to report. All we have to report are that they are functioning normally. It would seem, at least,
yes,
up to this point.
So back to
let's move into. Yeah. Let me do some share screen. We're going to move into week 1. We'll do Sam and Dwight, is what we will look at first.
Okay.
Let me try to share that screen.
And this is first week of non-divisional matchups.
Yep.
And this, at least on Track's estimations, is going to be a close matchup. I don't know that Dwight is definitely going to start Kenneth Gainwell because we don't know what Cook. Has anybody heard anything on him? I've heard that Madison or Cook is probable, but I don't know. I haven't heard. Much more than that.
I've heard promising things on Cook, but you just never know.
On RT, they've got Madison projected for 10 points, so that clearly does not feel like a full load where they're thinking he's going to be carrying it by himself against the Browns. I believe they're playing.
Cook got in a limited practice today,
so he is practicing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's usually a good sign.
Yeah. Especially on a
it'll probably be – we can probably expect to see Dalvin in there instead of Kenneth Gainwell, which would swing the projections slightly to Dwight's favor. We know that Sam is driving hard to trade for a quarterback, as we speak.
Yes.
If he gets that done before Sunday, that could swing the matchup again.
I will answer his comment since you mentioned it. We do not have a trade to report, Sam. You can continue on.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment we don't. Well, I just Trax has it pretty even. I like the quarterbacks, of course, for Dwight well over Sam. Denver's a tough defense, and Lamar's going to Denver. And I think we've all heard the stuff about guys traveling to Denver and and unless you're there a week ahead of time to really get acclimated to the climate, especially for guys that like to run a lot, it does affect them a little bit. Will it knock Lamar down that much? I don't know, but it seems to affect people. So I like Brady over Lamar. Mark, who do you agree with Trax? Well, I guess if you agreed with Trax, you would think it's Dwight because Cook's going to be in there. But this looks like a really close matchup. Who do you like here?
I like Hawkinson a lot. I think Hopkins will bounce back this week. But, Sam's team's going to look probably different before Sunday. It might be a completely different team the way he's been trading. So hard to say. But, yeah, I think if he has Dalvin Cook at least at 75 or 80%, he should be favored in that one.
I'm going to go. What do you think, Tony?
No, I agree. I think Sam's team will look different.
If he has his way, it will.
Yes.
But he might run into a brick wall,
Yes. Just looking I think the high score for the week between both teams is obviously going to be Tom Brady. It's prime time, right? Isn't it too? Prime time at New England.
The revenge game. Can he break some kind of record or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For most touchdown, whatever, his personal record is. I think that's going to be the difference maker between the two teams. I think Brady will carry him over the top to probably a double-digit 10, 15-point victory.
Yeah. And both of these guys, Dwight took his first loss last week, correct?
Yes, that was to Vince, who Mark's playing.
Yeah.
Jamal full.
So Dwight trying to avoid the 2-game skid. He did have the disappointing DeAndre Hopkins week. He had the no Dalvin Cook week. So he's looking to bounce back, but he does not have an easy matchup to bounce back. Sam hoping to not be starting Carson Wentz in the Superflex. If he doesn't make a deal, I think that's probably man. If Darrell Henderson's healthy, you could.
Yeah, and they haven't exactly ruled out Christian McCaffrey. He's not on the IR. I don't think he's
please
playing.
Don't let him play. Yeah, please don't let him play. Don't let him aggravate that and miss the rest of the season. Don't do that.
That could be the X factor in this one.
I'd like to have him back, on the couple teams I have him on, but not at the expense of, it's soft tissue. You got to let that heal. These guys have shown a million times if they're not 100% when they come back, that stuff pops again, and then they miss. Then it's IR time,
You mentioned, Mark, that could be the X factor. What percent would he even give McCaffrey? Would he even be 60%?
Who knows? He's that type of player that could just pop up and all of a sudden just dominate out of nowhere. You're not thinking that he's going to be much, and then he gets 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, and then runs for another 60.
Yeah.
And even when he's not healthy, Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I was just saying he could even do that line you mentioned on a 50% workload.
Yeah.
He's a dynamic
enough.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to be healthy. He could have 9, short catches for 65 yards and still rack up a lot of points doing that. He's that kind of guy. So even if he doesn't score, you can a 50% McCaffrey is better than probably everybody after running back 6 or 7. It seems like these last couple of weeks,
I'll take 50%.
So I think, he's just that good. It's like how much better Kelsey is than every other tight end almost. It's that some of these guys just do stand that far above the rest of the field, and he's one of them. It really hurts to lose. That probably cost Sam his week last week, getting only 6 points out of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now he's looking at Leonard Fournette. That team looks a lot different. Just like Dwight looked, I said, hey, it looks a little less intimidating without Cook in the lineup, and then he goes on to lose. Sam looks a bit less intimidating without, especially when it's Leonard Fournette that you're going to. but he does have Henderson. I guess it doesn't have to be Fournette. If Henderson plays, it's going to be Henderson.
Yeah.
So that still looks pretty good. But, Montgomery hasn't been that great. I could see him sucking again. The Bears suck.
Who are they playing?
Detroit.
Detroit.
But with the Bears, it's Montgomery had some running lanes. Now, if they know Fields is not comfortable at all, you're going to see 7, 8, 9 men in the box. And they're going to
maybe Matt Nagy was trolling the league. Maybe this was like make him look like shit week 1 and then really just cut him loose, the second week and
against
I don't
Detroit.
know that he's that smart, but
No,
made him look pretty bad if that's the idea. So yeah, it's a tight matchup, that one. Let's move on to Garoppolo's Islands and Don's Bulldogs. Let's go on to that. So my dad's team is looking at a Ryan Tannehill that may not have AJ Brown or Julio Jones. And I think Trax is kind of reflecting that with only predicting 15 points against the Jets, or maybe they just think it's going to be a Derrick Henry game because that's what it's been so far. What else sticks out here? We got some red flags kind of on both sides. Tyler Lockett, we saw him twist his knee, but he seemed to avoid really bad injury. Jonathan Taylor's got a red flag. These guys, I think, are fine by and large. I haven't really heard anything negative about them. Any reason to suspect that they wouldn't play?
Is Byron Pringle really your dad's best option?
It might be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's got the injured Gallup. He's got the injured KJ Hamler.
Injured Tyrell Williams.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make the same mistake as starting De'Ami Brown, who got him negative 0.4 points last week. So, yeah, that probably is Byron Pringle is probably the guy there. That's an ouch, I guess, but
now
it could be worse.
Neither one of Bulldogs is gnarly. Garoppolo's is not. Yeah, because Mark, you're with Sam, Josh, and Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These projections are pretty close, but I just looking at it, I see the Bulldogs winning this one pretty easily. But
yeah, I guess the projections are kind of. I don't really see where they're horribly off.
Though I do think Saquon's going to have I think he's due for a big game. He's getting healthier and healthier.
Diggs is due for a big game. He's due to go off finally. He's been a little quiet, especially for all the points Buffalo's been scoring. I feel like Diggs has been a little quiet. But similarly on the other side, Jonathan Taylor, if there's a week to go off, I don't think Miami's defense is all that great. But man, he's been very disappointing. Go ahead, Tony.
With what you were saying, Mark, the Josh and Squibb, put that in the chat about Najee Harris having snap percentage. I was like, well, I just want to look into this. Now, I could only find Fantasy Pros, and that's who they've referenced before. Saquon Barkley, his snap percentage is doing a steady increase. It's, quietly, some people aren't noticing that. You mentioned it, that Saquon wasn't just released to the Wolves in week 1. They're slowly building him up. Yeah. And he's slowly getting more and more, of that snap percentage or touches or however you want to go with it, and I think this is a good matchup for him to maybe be full bore after 4 weeks where he could get his full complement workload that they see.
It seems like Trax doesn't think so with only 11 points on the projection.
Yeah, especially in a PPR league, he's going to get some dump offs.
Mike Davis, he's been good for double digits each week. I guess he's got a solid 10-point floor, you could say. But, for me, I'm looking for the Cordero Patterson show to keep going now that I made that trade with you. Yeah, and I drafted him in a 20-team league, and I did not start in week 1, and I lost Gallup. Or I lost Gallup week 1, didn't have him week 2, started Patterson, and I started him last week too, and he has paid off. So I'm kind of hoping, like, if you're not going to throw the ball to Kyle Pitts, at least keep giving it to Cordero Patterson now that I traded for him as well. But now that I do, that's probably going to be the Mike Davis, Calvin Ridley show or something this week. I don't know. I can't seem to get anything right this year, but it can't keep being this bad for Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. I feel like one of them has to go off.
Yeah,
I think
maybe Mike
Calvin Ridley goes off this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's due for a lot of positive regression.
I hope so, man.
Calvin
maybe Matt Ryan just sucks. Matt Ryan could just suck.
I see Calvin Ridley finishing the year as a top 10 easy wide receiver.
Are we seeing the year that Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger both finally just suck, and like this is it for these two guys that have been mainstays for a long time now?
Roethlisberger sucked last year.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean,
just imagine if he didn't have the receivers that he had, he'd look a lot worse.
Yeah. They started out 11-0 last year, and I think they lost the last 5 or so, something like that, in the playoff game.
Kind of masked how bad he looked.
I mean, one sign you can look at for if you're saying that one of them will decline is look at Ben Roethlisberger and the fact that he completed 14 passes to Najee Harris. And he has all those wide receiver. I mean, Deontay was out, but he still had Juju, and he still had. I mean, they have plenty of weapons.
He lost Juju early, but he still got Claypool.
Yeah, Juju got injured.
Yeah, he had an elbow, or he had a shoulder. Like maybe it's bothering him.
And you still have Ebron too, who's not a horrible tight. I mean, you have options, and he throws the ball 14. I mean, completes the ball 14 times to his running back. It's probably more targets, but that just
19.
What is 19?
It was 19. It was the most targets a running back had since Kamara had 20 once in a game, and then the 19 targets for Harris is the second most ever. So yeah, I mean, I would not expect that to be a normal thing going forward, but if you had Najee Harris this week, you were loving it. So, but if you were like us, we have Deontay. I've got Roethlisberger in a super flex. I'm looking for him to throw some damn touchdowns or something, and it has not happened. So if you've been a Juju owner, I mean, you're happy with Claypool last week, but he's not throwing touchdowns to anybody. It's been nothing but frustration, really.
I will also again echo something.
It's time
Mark
for him to move on.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was going to echo that Bulldogs will win.
I think it'll be close. I think if I don't think Saquon's an 11-point week. But man, I don't see these being too far off on the Bulldogs side, like low or anything. So I think that's going to be. I mean, we could see Hurts have a bad game.
But I don't think Mike Davis is a 14.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Mark?
He said something about Mike Davis, and it got garbled.
Yeah, he said I heard Mike Davis, and he cut out. Oh, there he is.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, Mike Davis. I don't see him scoring 14.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. He's got that 10-point floor, and again, like if I hope that Pitts or Ridley go off, or Cordero for that matter, I don't think I'm seeing 14 out of Mike Davis. Galladay could just as easy, leave in the first quarter. He seems to always have the red flag next to his name. Pringle maybe touchdown or bust. Now, if Pringle, say, runs a punt, I don't know if he's actually been returning punts. I know he has before, but say he runs a punt back, does we get the points for that? Yeah, okay. Makes sense. I just thought I'd ask. Yeah, maybe give it to the Bulldogs. Just on its face. If I look again in a couple days, it may look different. But look at Woods' fantasy points. 12 and 12. I guess he's been a little better than I thought, but where's the touchdowns, man? Where's the not what you drafted him for? Maybe a 4th round player in a lot of leagues. Not doing what you drafted him for.
So the next one, do you want to do the Harry's?
Yeah, let's go to Harry and fully Chubbed. I don't think Harry's changed his starters just yet. He's still got A.J. Brown in there. But Harry's hurting lately. He's got to get Marquise Brown in there. Harry, get Marquise Brown in there in place of A.J. Brown. Get the healthy Brown in there and get yourself some points.
They still have Juju. I mean, Harry, you're going to have these teams. We all have it. We've all played fantasy long enough. Harry just could be that team this year that it was like, I was saying it too, with not to switch over too much to baseball, but Mark, you had horrible early injury luck. The baseball. I mean, no one talked about it seemed like. I mean, but it was awful. And it seems like Harry's going down that same path. He's got A.J. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Etienne. I think he had another couple red flags. Like, you're going to have one or two teams like that in a fantasy league. It's just inevitable. Happens. We've all played long enough. We know it's going to happen. Unfortunately, Harry. Yeah.
Harry also went with a big youth movement in the draft.
Yes.
I don't think he took a play over 25 years old for the first 15 rounds.
He did not. He definitely played the long run approach.
So as it is right now, and again, I doubt he's changed this because this pretty much looks like his roster from last week. He's still got the double tight ends going. I can't imagine that's staged that way. But then again, if I would have looked last week and saw that, I probably wouldn't have thought that either. So he's actually got 4 decent tight ends, Harry does. But I don't really see anybody on his bench overcoming fully Chubbed. Now, he is coming off a disappointing week of his own, and nobody knows that better than I do because I squeaked by him on Monday Night Football. He does have Chuba Hubbard, and he's starting him, at least right now, he's starting him in the super flex. Yeah. So that would be very interesting.
He might be the guy who outbids you for Brissett.
Yeah, that he's one of those guys that I'm hoping I land Brissett and then trade him to a super needy quarterback team. But man, they're predicting nearly 17 points against a Dallas defense that's been okay. I've watched 2 of the 3 Dallas games. That rookie linebacker looks really good there. What's his name?
Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he looks really good. I don't know. You could see the Panthers being behind and Darnold needing to throw a lot. I don't know if Chuba will get the same kind of action in the passing game that McCaffrey did, but I could see it being a DJ Moore, maybe Robbie Anderson kind of game for the Panthers.
I think this is pretty simple. We have a healthy team and we have a non-healthy team.
Yeah.
I think there's not much to say, unfortunately, outside of it could be a long year for Harry. But he had a lot of success in baseball, so he's due for a long year in football.
Hey, you look at this team, and I got extraordinarily lucky, it seems, to beat Cal last week. He had the Tyreek Hill off week, a pretty, if I recall, off week out of Darren Waller, like not what you would have expected. Yeah, 10 points. The shitty Amari Cooper game, I think he had 3 catches, 5.6 points. Devontae had a huge game, but Chubb, I think, was subpar. So I really got pretty lucky. 8.4 points out of Chubb. That's a joke. I got pretty lucky to beat Cal last week, and this 140, low 140 range, even with a running back in the super flex, that looks a little bit more in line with what his team should put up.
If Cal can figure out his quarterback situation, he'd have a really strong team.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good looking team. It really is.
He just unfortunately had bad injury luck with
Tua.
Yeah, but he also has, if you looked at that bench, he has Mason Rudolph, who I guess he's supposed to be the Steelers' future.
I hope not.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, the Steelers future is not on their roster right now.
Are you a Steelers fan, Mark?
Yes.
My wife is as well.
Yes.
Now, are you from that area, Mark? I know you live in Dallas now, but are you like from Texas?
No, I grew up in Memphis. We didn't have any professional teams, and my dad latched on to the early Steelers 70s when they drafted, Franco and Mean Joe Green and Terry Bradshaw and all those guys. So 40-year-old me, I wanted to do what my dad was doing and cheer for the Steelers, and it stuck. When you grow up in a city that doesn't have a major league team like that, you kind of have to go outside to find one. Most everybody else was a Cowboy fan, which I can't stand the Cowboys. So, yeah.
My wife was disappointed. She grew up in Minnesota, and she was disappointed with just all the heartbreak from Minnesota. She's like, I'm just going to be a Steelers fan. So now she's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
But you're a Rangers fan, right? Baseball.
Yeah, Rangers and Stars. I like the Dallas teams in those two sports. I grew up actually as a Cardinals fan because Cardinals. Yeah. Well, I mean, as a teenager, I mean, once I moved here, I switched over to the Rangers. But I grew up liking the Cards just because everybody in Memphis was a Cardinal fan at the time. Either that or the Braves. It was one of the two. I even went to a few Cardinal games as a teenager. So yeah, I still like the Cardinals from the NL side, but I'm suffering through the Rangers right now. So
yeah, not a lot. They're having a season on the Rangers side right now.
They're having a season similar to the ABL Guardians. So,
how long have the Redbirds been in Memphis? Because did you grow up going to AAA games?
No, the Redbirds moved there after I left Memphis. It was the Memphis Chicks before the Redbirds. They were a AA affiliate of Kansas City.
Okay.
So yeah, the Redbirds didn't move there until after I left. I left in about 91. Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know if that was maybe also some fueling to being a Cardinals fan if you have the AAA affiliate, in your hometown or where grew up and stuff.
Oh no, man!
No, it was really the Braves or the Cardinals because those were the closest to Memphis. There were some Cub fans, a few others, but mostly Braves and Cardinals.
Okay. Wait, you got to Dallas with those Rangers teams. You got Nolan Ryan, Kevin Brown,
yes,
Gene Palmer, Juan Gonzalez, Raffy, Pudge.
Yep, we had some fun times. I was at their first ever playoff win against the Yankees. That was a fun game.
There was some good Rangers teams in those early '90s. Like I don't know about they were good teams. The bullpen, I don't remember much about, but. I have some weird Rangers affinity, like the year that Kevin Elster hit 20 homers out of nowhere. Hit 20 homers on a weird Rangers team, or the year was it Roger Pavlik or somebody won 20 games? Yeah.
Had a no-hitter in there too.
Yeah, weirdo Rangers stuff from the 90s, early 2000s. That sticks in my head for whatever reason, but
they were a fun offensive minded team. So they would, they'd win a lot of 9-7 games, and it was a fun time in the '90s for the Rangers.
That was the tail end of Nolan Ryan, but he was still in the beginning of Kevin Brown. He wasn't like stud Kevin Brown yet, and he was winding down Nolan Ryan. But still, you look at that team, it's like looking at some of those old Expos teams. It's like, wow, look at all the guys the Expos had. What if they could have been something? But of course, we're way deviating from football here. Sorry.
I was gonna say, when did you want to do your matchup, Mark? Do you want to save it for last or get it out?
It's up to you guys.
Okay.
Whenever you want to do it. It's not a good matchup, so
let's go for it. We're here. Let's go for it. Mark's
facing
matchup,
the top team in the league.
Yeah, facing the irresistible force of Derrick Henry, and Mike Williams is suddenly a top 10 receiver. DeAndre Swift has been great. He's been one of the top 3-round running backs that you're not disappointed in. And of course, he's got Russell in the super. Like the quarterbacks, I like Mark's quarterbacks here. The running backs, you gotta give the nod to Vince. The receivers, man.
I think that I heard something today, and I just want to throw some caution there. I think Zach Moss was injured week 1. They said it was whatever, coach's decision or whatever. But everything I've read, it sounded like the dude had a toe injury.
He didn't play at all. Yeah, he didn't take a snap.
He didn't play at all, and they kind of hid that. And I think he is the lead back there, 65, 70% snap share. And they have it. Who they play, Houston this week? Or who they play?
I think so. Yeah, Houston.
That's got to be a plus matchup for Zach Moss. I don't think it's
kind of like predicting Saquon for only 11 points. Moss has scored 15 and 18, and this is probably a plus matchup for the run game. I think he's going to go for more than 12.
And I think you see a motivated Bears team. That's just me against the Lions. So I don't think it's as easy as saying – I mean, Derrick Henry is obviously the best, but I think the second and third best are on Mark's team for this week.
Man, Swift has been good, though. Like two games of 23 plus. He had the stinker against Green Bay, but man, is he injured? Groin, limited practice. So he's probably fine. But you have to. I look at it as Vince has a couple guys that need to come back down to earth, and Mark has a couple guys that are ready to take off, especially in Allen Robinson and Calvin Ridley. Mark Andrews, has he caught a touchdown yet? I don't think he's caught a touchdown yet. He has not. So Mark Andrews is due for that 25-point game as well. You're not saying it's all going to come this week, but I could see this match being closer than what it looks like on its face right here.
Mark, go ahead. Sorry.
My real decision is going to be Jalen Reagor. If I'm going to stick with him in that flex spot, or go with somebody like Pollard or Chenault, or
So that was my next like literally that's what I was going out of my mouth was, is Reagor the number 1 for Philly?
It's probably Devontae, right?
I don't know. I mean, Reagor was pretty highly regarded last year. He had a really good finish to the season. It's going to be one of those things where, if Hurts is clicking or not.
Mm-hmm. I think they want to prove something. That was such a poor performance on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that bad. I really don't.
Well, I'm a 17-point underdog, but I think if my guys play up to potential, I can definitely make a game out of it.
Yeah, I think you're low. I think maybe Zeke total looks low. I think the Moss total looks low, and I think the Robinson total looks low.
Yeah,
and maybe even the Mahomes. I mean, 22 for Mahomes. Mahomes lost 2 games in a row. He's gonna want to light somebody up.
The only thing I'd be scared of is the Godwin. I think it could be the Godwin week this week, where Brady goes to Godwin. Because last week Godwin got the Jalen Ramsey tweet. Jalen Ramsey treatment. Like Godwin was shadowed by Ramsey.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't Antonio Brown due back this week?
He still has COVID.
He's still on the COVID.
He tested positive. He wasn't a close contact. Antonio Brown tested positive for COVID.
So yeah, I knew that. But I just thought I heard that he's coming back. That he'd be back this week.
And it might be because it's a Monday night game that might be the extra day they needed.
Right, but you need to make that decision. I mean, if you have Brown, I know that's not why we asked here, but if you have him, you need to make that decision on Sunday to either leave a spot open for him or not. Thankfully, I have him nowhere. So
I guess I just think that Vince will probably win by about 5 to 7 points. I think it's going to be close, like Mark said. I think it's going to be closer than the 17-point projection, but I think Vince might win by about 5 to 7.
Man, the more I look at this,
Yeah.
I think both of Mark's quarterback projections are low here. I think Stafford only 20.5 and Mahomes at 22, almost 23, I guess. But I think those are both a little low. I don't know why I think that, but I just do.
And what's Arizona? Is that who the Rams have?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then Vince also has Devontae Smith.
He does.
You have Rager. Who's it going to be this week?
Yeah. I think the big thing in Vince's favor. I think the big thing in Vince's favor is Derrick Henry going against the Jets. I mean, they're going to be up early in that game, and they're just going to run it.
And he can handle it. He can definitely handle that workload, as we all know.
Yep.
That's not.
Yeah, but maybe they take a big lead and give him a break so he doesn't have 400 damn carries this year. Maybe. I don't think that's really the Titans' MO, but
no.
No.
I don't know. You look at his game.
As long as he doesn't put up 47.
48 points, 19 and a half.
Yeah, as long as
so it's like, what are you going to get? Oh, God. So I guess you probably do got to like Vince here, but I think it's closer than it looks. And I think if you can say that it would take it breaking correctly, I think it would just take it these guys playing up to what you and anybody else drafted them to be. That is Mark Andrews, Robinson, Ridley. If these guys perform the way that they should, Zeke, I think Mark makes it a fight and maybe pulls off an upset.
Can I ask a quick question?
The team has definitely been underperforming.
Sorry, can I ask you a quick question, Mark? Since we have Sam, who's actually still listening, I think, what would it take from him to get Mahomes?
I put you right on the spot.
Justin Herbert plus. So you go and make your trade first. Yeah, you make your trade first.
Okay.
And then I'll trade you Mahomes for Herbert plus a first.
That's the answer. Yeah.
Well, there you go, Sam. So you got to get Herbert, and then you got to give up Herbert plus a first to get Mahomes.
That's probably about right.
That's
in a super flex, especially, I would put Mahomes kind of in a tier by himself.
Mm-hmm.
In a redraft or whatever, maybe it's Mahomes and Allen, and then there's another tier of like 5 or 6 guys. But I think in super flex or 2 QB, Mahomes up there by himself. So it does take number 2 or 3 plus. I think that's right. I don't think that's asking too much.
Then you don't have to answer because you don't know his roster. But as a follow-up, if he doesn't have Herbert,
probably no deal.
Okay.
He doesn't have enough first to do it.
Fair enough.
Not anymore. Yeah, not anymore. He doesn't.
Well, he only lost 2. He still has 4.
Only.
He only lost 2 firsts. He still has 4.
You think first round draft picks are popcorn that you just only lost 2 pieces. There's a bunch more here.
But if he has Mahomes, those first rounders are going to be pretty high.
Yes,
that's true.
And it's a snake draft, so you're always going to be. I mean, that doesn't matter if you have just the first, but
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't think Sam honestly thinks he's going to get Mahomes, but you gotta try. You gotta try, I guess. Another so let's look at you, Tony, and the Game of Jones boys, and straight away this is what the projections always. We've done a couple of these. I feel like again these are kind of low on Kyler. He is playing the Rams defense. But I feel like it's a little low on Herbert as well. Am I crazy for thinking low 20s? Is that? Yeah, so Herbert's put up 28 in his good week where his team didn't screw him. So maybe that's more in line, but these just feel low to me.
So I think Eckler's on my bench right now. Or no, he's not. Okay, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're starting Sanders. You're starting Eckler. As it stands right now, I like your running backs, but Hunt, man, Hunt is sneaky good. He seems to get his production no matter what.
Who they got this week?
Be hurt or anything.
Sorry,
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay.
They're still going to go with Mac Jones against a pretty okay Tampa defense, and the Pats looked really bad last week. They're back home, but they've got Mac Jones projected for more points than Goff. Has that happened at all this year? 15, 7, 11.
I'm probably
so
not
last week Mac had 2 more points than Goff, but you got Joe Burrow. So you get Burrow in there. Is there anybody else on your bench right now that you think
maybe Jacobs? I have to see some positive reports from Josh Jacobs to go with him.
Curtis Samuel coming back soon.
Yep, could be this
practicing with pads today, so that's nice for you.
Yeah.
Trax has a pretty big gap here between the two of you guys, but honestly, I don't know that I see it.
I don't see it either.
Is he still starting Damian Harris or not?
Yeah, they are.
So they have 3.
No, that's not it. Yeah, they got him in the flex. Sorry, they got Damian.
So they have the 3 new. That's going to be the trouble or the positive for Game of Jones. When you rely on 3 people from the same team,
it's a stack.
You're going to have up and down and up and down. You can't. Especially on a non-high – I'm sorry, the New England offense is not high-powered. If you have, like, Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, or you had, like, Lamar, Hollywood Brown, Andrew, like, those offenses are elite. Or if you had, Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams. I just don't see it when you start 3 New England Patriots in a game where I think the Buccaneers are just going to roll the Patriots. That's just me personally, but.
Yeah, the Buccaneers have a really good defense too, so I can see those really 3 being shut down completely.
Yeah. And Tony, you're starting Tyler Boyd, and we already know no T. Higgins again this week.
Yep.
So could be a little bit more of a Tyler Boyd week. He hasn't really kind of gone off for those big reception numbers. He had 7 in week 2, but I kind of thought Boyd was going to be more of a PPR machine than he has been thus far. But
and that's a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So anything can happen.
And it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I am going to be streaming Cincinnati defense in a lot of my leagues against the pretty turnover-prone Jacksonville team. I'm going to hope that works out because I'm on the Carolina defense and a lot of others, and I don't think I want to play them against Dallas. So I'm streaming Cincinnati and crossing my fingers.
Now he said this word twice, Mark, and I want you to make you aware you are on a YouTube channel that illegally streamed Monday Night Football. And Alan has, I don't know if he shared with you, but
yes, I heard.
Yeah, I wanted to see if even a channel with fewer than 30 subscribers and stuff would get nicked by the man, and we did. It took him a couple days. I got the email yesterday, but I hadn't checked it until I went to do the stuff tonight. And it says, like, the video was still on YouTube, but it was blocked. It had the 6 views, whatever of the guys watched it. We did get the 6 views, but nobody could watch it anymore. And I just went ahead and deleted it because there was nothing I could do to fix the fact that there was Monday Night Football playing throughout the entirety of the video. Not like I could bleep a bad word or something and have it be okay. So I just went ahead and deleted it. So if you watched the week 3 recap, you know what we thought of week 3. If you didn't, it's never going to happen again. So but we should be good. I mean,
do you want to do yours real quick, Alan, and then we get some closing words from Mark or something?
Yeah, we're running. We're hitting that hour mark here.
Yeah.
So let's not take up too much more of your guys' nights. Now, Mark, you know what? I don't know if you wanted to before we get into my game, I wanted to mention like how late it was. Am I correct in that you're a teacher?
No, I work at a school. I'm in the human resources.
Okay.
Oh, you work. Okay, so you work at a school, but you're not a teacher. So you don't have like class in the morning that
No.
we're like keeping you up late. Okay, so yeah. So I told Tony earlier, I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure Mark's a teacher. I know he's mentioned like going to work at the school or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to keep him all night, if he's got like papers to grade or something.
No.
But now that's cleared up a little bit. All right, cool.
Oh, by the way, since we're at a break, the last two I had were the Shiner Weiss and Easy and the Shiner Ruby Redbird.
What did you pour them into the same glass? Is that what?
No, I've been drinking these. Just no big deal.
Which one's been your favorite?
So far, I like the Ruby Redbird, and this is my first sip out of the Ruby Redbird. I'm a big Ruby Red Squirt guy, and stuff like I like the grapefruit flavor and that.
My all-time favorite soda is Squirt. I am a Squirt fan. It's like so sweet anymore. I really can't drink it. It like makes my teeth hurt. It's so sweet. But growing up, man, when I found the rare like 7-Up machine that had Squirt in it, that was because no restaurants are serving 7-Up products, like typically. So I was never able to get Squirt in a restaurant setting or anything. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Sam's never heard of Squirt. It's a yellow can, and Squirt is going across it diagonally in red letters, and it is a grapefruit flavored soda. It's kind of a funky color. It's like a weird, what would you call the color that Squirt is? It's like a cloudy lemonade almost.
It's a cloudy Sprite.
It's not like mellow yellow, it's mellow yellow looks like Mountain Dew. Like Squirt, nothing looks like Squirt, really. I can't think of another soda that's that same color. It's a weird color. And
if he loves
Ruby Red Squirt is Ruby Red Grapefruit. Yeah,
he said he loves grapefruit. He'd love.
Dude, you would like Squirt, Sam. Squirt is it's good stuff.
On to yours?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mark, do you drink soda? Do you have a favorite soda? What did you drink as a kid?
No, I used to. I cut back on sugars quite a bit about 4 or 5 years ago. So no sodas, hardly any sweets anymore, stuff like that.
Are you?
Hold on, Tony. Sorry. When you were going to a ball game, what were you drinking at the ballpark?
Oh, back then, probably soda.
Coke, Yeah. Coke, Pepsi.
It's probably Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Back then it was Dr. Pepper mostly. Some Coke, some Pepsi, but mostly Dr. Pepper. That was my go-to.
So then I just have two quick ones. Number one,
go for it, Tony.
Do you drink alcohol or do you beer or liquor or anything?
Yeah, mostly mixed drinks, screwdrivers, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then number two, you cut out the sugar and sweets and all that stuff. Are you doing I've noticed this, and my wife has said this too, a lot of the pops and sodas or whatever you want to call them are switching to the zero sugar instead of diet. Do you even drink the zero sugar / diet, or are you just completely out on pop?
Yeah, I'm completely out. I drink mostly tea, water, milk.
Okay.
Orange
that stuff rots
juice.
your brain, man. That artificial sweetener, that eats holes in your brain.
Yeah.
We want to venture into conspiracy? I mean, we can.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that much.
Pop, Sam says. Yeah, I was not a pop. Mark, what did you call it growing up? Did you call it soda?
It was all Coke. Everything was Coke.
It was all Coke. You were a Southerner.
Yeah, that's Texas. What flavor of Coke do you want? What flavor? Yep.
Yeah, somebody says, you want a Coke? I'm like, yeah, sure. And they bring me a root beer. So I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I do have family real quick down there by the Longview area. I want to say it's 2 hours from Dallas.
Yeah, Tiny Woods. Yep.
All right, we're gonna do last game. It's me and Jeff. We mentioned earlier about Dalvin. They're predicting Madison for 10 points, but hopefully I'll know a little more come Sunday. It is the early game, but is Dalvin healthy? Is he not? If he's not, I'll probably move Cordero up there and play somebody else in the flex, maybe Tim Patrick, somebody like that. I might be off of Tyson Williams in Denver again, kind of like I said with Lamar. You got the guys going to Denver. It seems to mess him up a little bit. The high altitude, the thin air, it does seem to mess him up. And he only had touched the ball 5 times last week. That kind of annoyed me after I traded who's been a top 10 receiver, Brandon Cooks. His schedule looks rough the next several weeks. So I was kind of hoping – I thought I was selling a little high on him. I wasn't expecting to get a running back that was going to get 5 touches. So that looks bad for me. That trade looks bad. It looks great for Josh and Squibb. It looks bad for me. What do you guys think of my match? I don't know that I'm definitely starting Heineke over
that was my question.
But I do think that they're going to throw all over the Panthers. The Falcons. The Falcons suck, and I do think maybe they're going to. It's going to be a bit of a shootout. I think Heineke could put up a better game than A-Rod. I think I might keep him in there.
I was gonna say I'll ask Mark a question and then he can go through your team. Mark, if you were Allen, would you just roll with Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers the rest of the year and not worry about Heineke? And then to follow up, what are your thoughts on the matchup?
Yes, I would go Dak and A-Rod over Heineke for sure. I mean, I know what's go down. What's Aaron Rodgers projected for? 18?
Yeah. And it's not even so much that I'm looking at like, okay, Heineke's slated for more, but like, I don't know. I feel like the way that game is going to go, I'm hoping that it's a breakout game for the Atlanta guys, kind of like we talked about earlier. It could be a Pitts and Ridley kind of game. And in being that, it's going to make Heineke have to throw a bunch. That's just kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of surprised that Jeff was favored in this one after he just traded Lamar Jackson away. So that was the first shocking thing. And of course, he's got Mixon on the block also. So if he trades Mixon away, that could swing things in your favor. But looks like Jeff's playing for next year.
Julio could not play at all. Also, Julio could also not play. I don't know. Man, he's got Gibson on his bench though. Does he have room to? Boy, he really doesn't. He's not going to play him over Kamara or Mixon, and he's probably not going to play him over Carson. So he really doesn't.
He might play him if he trades away Mixon though.
Sure, I guess that's why. And boy, he's got the injured Sterling Shepard. So Jeff, I think is a really unfortunate 1 and 2. I think you and Jeff are kind of in the same boat, Mark. You guys have both really great looking teams on paper that have maybe underperformed a little bit.
Is he 1 and 2 or 0 and 3?
He's 0 and 3.
Shit, is he 0 and 3? Wow. Okay, that's even more impressive then.
I was pretty fortunate to beat him last week. He had some down week. He had a down week from Kamara.
That's right. It was one of you guys who's going to be 0 and 3, like very undeserved. Yeah, that's what it was.
Because that was the league where Sam and Josh played, and they were both 2 and 0. And Mark, you and Yeah,
I don't love facing Jeff this week, but if Julio's out, Kittle's got the red flag next to his name. Did not practice on Wednesday. So maybe I get lucky, kind of like I did with Cal. Maybe I get lucky and I can pull something out. I do think that Jeff's team looks better than mine, at least in this matchup. I think he does. I think the projections may be a little low on James Robinson.
Yeah. What's he pull him up? Because you were low on him.
I was high. I'm the high guy. I'm the high guy on James Robinson. I've got him everywhere.
I don't like Mark. What do you do on Sunday? Are you in the Discord all Sundays, like live, like watching us?
No, on and off. I mean, this Sunday I was probably doing hockey stuff mostly. Because
Because Allen had a little overreaction early on James Robinson.
Oh, did he?
Most of those points came on
Yeah.
one drive because that's why I was watching that game, and that's why I said, man, they hate James Robinson. Like, look at his first 2 games, 8.7 points. And then most of what he did there, that 25, came in one huge drive where they scored or where they marched like 85 yards down the field, and like 79 of it was him one way or another, either runs or from passes. And then he might have got the touchdown as well. So without that drive, it still looks bad for him. And I was kind of saying it about Kyle Pitts. Man, why do the Falcons hate Kyle Pitts? They drafted him really high in the first round. And after what James Robinson did for you last year, and you lost ETN this year, why do the Jags hate James Robinson? It was killing me, man. As a guy that has a lot of 0 RB teams, because I picked so late in so many drafts. I have a ton of Ronald Jones, who's been just awful, and a ton of James Robinson, who until last week had also been awful. And it was hurting, you know. And if those teams are paired with the big time wide receivers that are, you know, the Diggs, the Ridleys, those are the guys you go with in the first couple rounds. Man, those are killing your teams right now. If you got stuck with the fuzzy, you know, like a couple of Mark's teams that he's talked about, if you get stuck with all these guys, those names can all look like first and second round picks, and you can say, man, this guy's got 5, you know, second round or better picks. If they all suck at the same time, it doesn't matter how good that team looks. You know, I think Toronto, Mark, from the ABL, that's why he doesn't play fantasy football. It's too much luck. You know, I mean, he thinks everything is luck. But, you know, it's too much luck. But here's a good example of it, to where a team can look as good as say the Pharaohs look, and be teetering on the edge of 0-3 last week. And, you know, Zeke has a big Monday night game, and you know, you look at Jeff's team now. How is that team 0-3? But man, that's the way she goes sometimes. I'm in one league, I'm 3-0, and I'm like I think I'm the 3rd worst scoring team, but I'm 3-0. You know, it's just like one of those weird happening. You know, when you play 25 leagues, that's bound to happen somewhere probably. But
yeah. Well, I think in this league, outside of Harry's team, the other 11 are all pretty even. I mean, I can see any game going any direction every week. We could all be 8-8, or whatever, how many ever games we're playing, 7-7 by the end of the year. Harry's is the only one that's, you know, he's had the injuries. He went with a young roster. I think he didn't really have plans to win this year. So, but the other 11, I mean, Jeff's team number 11 could easily beat number 1, I think.
If Jeff does get a first rounder from Mixon and he sells off Kittle, he could be in Harry land.
Yeah.
So, I mean, check this out. I'm 2-1, but in this league, I'm the 3rd lowest scoring team. You know, it's like I've allowed almost 25 more points than I've scored, and I'm, you know, middle of the pack points allowed. But you want to look, let's see, the top scoring team is the Derrick Henry team, the Sam Darnold team, and then you've got Dwight, and then Cal. Like, look how lucky I was to beat Cal last week. It's so I guess interesting. I don't know. I mean, I love it. You know, I won week 1 on the fumbles, I guess you could say. You know,
that was your great commissioner, right? You know, just
football is fun. Oh, really? I mean, it was Squibb. Squibb pointed it out. You know.
Yeah. Oh, he did. Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed. You know, I didn't notice. It took us until halfway through week 3 to realize that we were a premium league.
Yeah.
For fuck's sakes.
That I still haven't. I should see if Fantrax emailed me, but I did. They're pretty quick about emailing back.
They're probably wondering, like, how the hell did this guy not know he had a premium league?
Yeah, like, I had no idea.
None of us did. Yeah, none of us did.
And I got nothing back. I bet they'll get back to me before.
Oh, they will.
They're
eventually.
quick. Yeah.
But who's had the most points scored against them? The Bulldogs, 481, and then my dad, and then Jeff. So not only has Jeff gotten some you know, less than stellar performances out of some of his higher picks, he's also had the 3rd most points scored against him. Mark is in there with the 5th most points. There's been 5 teams with 400 or more scored, and then I'm right there at 399.76. So, football is fickle. This is dynasty. So in the long run, yes, Sam says, how are we premium? I don't know, man. I don't know. Nobody knows.
You didn't like your purchase. Enjoy your purchase.
So what I was doing tonight was I was trying to look and see how much fab everybody had. So I clicked on team finances. I thought maybe that would show me. And it was how much everybody had paid. And then I realized, like I said, our prize pool was only 500. And it's because the $99.99 for Fantrax Premium. Like, what the fuck? I thought we definitively did not want to be a premium league. Yeah, and maybe they can look and see that we haven't used any premium features and hook us up a little bit. Even though we plan on abandoning them at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that.
Well, that's a great segue.
Like, hey, if I have to move to Sleeper because you guys are going to not refund me here,
I
will move to Sleeper, goddammit. Yeah, I will move to Sleeper. If not, this is a brand new Dynasty League. You can see that. We'd like to continue rolling with you guys, and we plan on doing hockey next year. So, look ahead here. Do what's smart, Fantrax. Do what's smart and make the customers happy.
I did want to say that you gave a great segue to a question I had in my head to Mark. I was in agreement with you, but I wanted to commissioner the league by vote early, and I've changed that. Sleeper is the best fantasy platform I've used for any sport. That's just me personally. Can you tell me why you like it? For some people who are not familiar with it.
Well, I mean, it's. I think the main thing is just the ease of use, the interface. The app is better than Fantrax's app. And they also are very responsive. I know Fantrax is pretty responsive too, but Sleeper, they're right on things. And they're continually developing new features, new functions. Now, I think Jeff mentioned earlier that it's kind of cartoony, which I don't like all that either. But, you can just ignore that piece of it. But just the tools it has, the ability, the trending up page, the free agents, be able to look through those pretty quickly. Very reactionary too. Just it's quick.
And it has a chat app that's not bad.
Yes.
The chat app with it is not bad at all.
Yeah, that's a big piece. And I know Fantrax is doing that same thing. They've been demoing that in certain hockey leagues this year. So that feature might be available in Fantrax soon.
They're getting ready to do improve their auction platform, I think, as
they
well.
They definitely need to do that.
Yeah, they still are just, behind. I've talked about the Tommy Hansen thing a million times. I just think that's the most ridiculous thing. That Tommy Hansen, he's been dead for 6 years now. He's still in the baseball pool. For Christ's sake, I don't understand it. But not to mention that people have been begging for an actual app from them for years now, and it's still just a mobile skin. It takes you to the mobile site. They don't have an actual app for whatever reason. They're growing and growing. They're one of the few sites that run a lot of draft and holds, which people love. They're not struggling for I wouldn't think they're struggling for revenue. They have exploded since I first started playing there, but they just haven't really. They've added more games. They're one of the few places that does EPL. And they do NASCAR and stuff. They've added games, but they have not added to their actual product, to the performance of the product. And that's just so annoying to me. When initially, a few years ago, the owners were really active on Slack, and that was kind of like Discord. I think Slack is still around, but I don't use it anymore. But I was talking one-on-one with guys there because I had an issue with a league. I discovered collusion in a league I was in, and it was a big thing. But these guys were really responsive. They were right there. They were chatting with just this normal person that was in a pretty low dollar league compared to some other stuff. But I thought, man, this place is really going places. And then this is, I think, 3 or 4 years later now. They're pretty much the same, except they have some more stuff. They have EPL now, and they have NASCAR. They do best ball. They're really good at best ball. I do like Fantrax best ball. They do the 50-50 best balls. I do like those. But, You know, I found myself playing more leagues this year on RT Sports, which has a much higher rake, but I like the platform a lot more. So that chased away a lot of my money. You know, that failure to adapt and to kind of, it seems like they've stopped listening to people.
What platforms have you all used, Mark?
I use MFL, the My Football League. That's probably got the best built-in auction tools. But it's also not very user friendly. They have a lot of features, but you've got to hunt for them in most cases. But yeah, Sleeper's the main one, and then of course Fantrax. I like to keep most everything in Fantrax if I can, and I think they are starting to be more responsive because there's a hockey Discord that I'm on, and they actually have a rep from Fantrax on there, and he has his own channel. And you can just go ask him questions. He's very responsive. They're talking about new features. They just rolled out a new feature today where you can in hockey, if you automatically have a player playing on Wednesday and you have another guy on Tuesday, that guy on Wednesday will replace automatically the guy on Tuesday. You don't have to go in and actually make the lineup change yourself. It'll just do it automatically.
That's nice.
So yeah, they're starting to roll out a few things. I think you might see a few more. I don't know, but yeah, they've got a long ways to go.
I don't want to be done with them. You know, I like the game selection and everything, and the traffic is good. You know, like I said, it's the best balls and stuff are great. And Duke is going to run the Fantasy Olympics next year, and I think it's pretty much going to be on Trax because Trax does so many different types of games. They do the draft and hold, the best ball. You know, you can run. You know, obviously, or create a commissioner leagues or whatever. You can run whatever you want, but I think he wants to keep it centralized. So I'm not abandoning Trax yet, but I
have used MFL, and I did want to echo Mark's comments. Like, they have a lot of features. You just got to search for them. I use them for we do a playoff league where you have to draft one player from each team that's in the playoffs. And you have to fill you have two quarterbacks, 3 running backs, whatever it is, to fill however many teams in the NFL playoffs. But then once the team's eliminated, you get no more points. But MFL was awesome to keep track of stuff like that. Like, they had awesome playoff setup. Like, a lot of platforms have just ignored people who want to do like a playoff league. You know, if you want to do a playoff only MLB league or a playoff only NFL league, you know, the customization
with that stuff. You know, DraftKings is like, okay, play with the 2 games that are going tonight, but it's just that one night, you know.
Yeah, instead of the whole postseason.
Yeah, MFL is definitely the most customizable platform out there. We did our auction on there.
It's so hard to edit your lineups and blah 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 blah. Where the playoff league that I'm talking about that I run, it's a best ball. You don't edit your lineup. You just get what you get. So using it as a best ball platform, it's not horrible.
Yeah, that's what our league is. So it makes it really easy, you know. Just set it and go.
Aren't the public, like they do a lot of public best balls, aren't the rosters a little funky like for baseball? Isn't it like, man, I can't remember. Like, the rosters were weird to me. Yeah, on MFL 10s or whatever they were. Don't they do baseball, or am I thinking of something else?
Or I don't think football? They do baseball. No? They might. I don't think they do. I'd have to look.
What am I thinking of? I feel like I did some on there, and the rosters were like really weird. It was, man, what was it? It was like two pitchers, 5 outfielder. Man, I'm gonna have to look now. I don't remember.
How many baseball leagues are you in, Mark?
Just 3 ABL, and then 2 score sheet leagues, which are sim leagues.
Okay.
So you set a rotation. You set a your lineup. You can set to pinch hit, to steal bases, all kinds of things. It's pretty in depth.
So the ABL is your really only daily moves, I guess, because do you have moves in that other one, or?
Not daily. It's weekly. But yeah, you can you can definitely change your lineup each week. So, if you do your batting order, you have a leadoff hitter, you have a number 2 hitter, you have your cleanup guy. So, yeah, if you got your cleanup guy struggling, you're going to want to probably swap him out or something like that. So, or injuries. But it's
Mark,
pretty fun.
Are you giving? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that for that league probably, maybe 10 years now. About that, but I've been playing on Score Sheet for close to 40 years.
Oh shit! Old school.
Yes, we did it. We did it by mail. We would send in a handwritten list of the players we wanted to draft, and they ran the draft for you, and then you got mailed back the results, and then you sent in your lineup changes, and it was very old school.
That's cool.
I was a teenager at the time, so. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, I remember getting picking up a Baseball Weekly, and they would update roto standings for guys that have done some of their contest stuff, and I always wondered man, how are these guys doing this? Are they're filling out a note card and sending stuff in for their moves and stuff, and I guess that's actually how it was. Yeah, this is pre-internet, so.
Well, if you get a chance, go to scoresheet.com and take a look at it. It's pretty. I mean, it's fun. It's different. It's they take their stats for the week and they throw it into a system and put it up against your opponent's stats. So if you run up against a good pitching staff and you had some great hitters, those hitters might not be so great because they're facing a good staff that week. And then vice versa. If you have a struggling week with your bats, but you face a really shitty rotation, then you could still, get a lot of runs. It's fun.
So it's a sim league, but it's based on real time occurrence.
Exactly.
But it that affects say the in-game ratings, but it's still a separate simulation.
Correct.
So it's kind of like OOTP that Lenny and I and Sam play with quite a bit. They run leagues on that too. It sounds like almost kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's probably
kind of fluctuate with real time as well.
It's just very old school in that their website's pretty basic. It's still the results are still just emailed to you. It's not like you get to go watch. They have an app that can play the game out, but it's still very basic. It's not anything like OOTP. So,
Mark, Sam asked, did you ever play Stratomatic at all?
No, I have the electronic version, not the board game, but the Windows version of it. But I've never really got into that.
Mark, Sam is going to hate you for saying you have the Windows version because he's all in on Apple. You got to get the.
Well, I'm on a MacBook right here, so.
I have one closing thing to say.
iPhone.
I have one closing thing to say to Mark, and then Alan, you can do your closing bit.
Sure.
I've always said that if the state of Texas ever approved commercial gaming in casinos, that is a spot that I would move to right away. Because I just think the money would be way too good.
Oh, it's huge. We have casinos right over the border in Oklahoma. And Louisiana too. I mean, Louisiana's about 3 hours away. Oklahoma's about an hour away, and it's just full of Texans all the time.
Yeah,
these casinos.
Because my wife looked at a job in Dallas, and I told her, I was like, "You'd be next to probably one of the biggest casinos, if not the biggest casino in the U.S. at that one on the border between Oklahoma and Texas. Like, it's not that bad of a commute. Maybe an hour it looked like." Between Dallas, Fort Worth, too.
Well, there's two of them. There's Choctaw, and then there's WinStar World Casino.
Yep, the WinStar was the one I looked at. Yeah,
that one is huge. It's not as great as any of the Vegas casinos, obviously, but for Oklahoma, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and I just think that there's so much money to be made, but I understand the dynamic in Texas, and that's a whole nother conversation. But that's all I wanted to close with. Alan, if you had.
Really, I just was curious, Mark, if you had given any thought to doing any of the Gout Wars leagues that Duke is planning on setting up next year, the AL, NL
no
format.
He invited me to one earlier in this year. I think there was an opening. I don't know. What's the other one y'all are in? DZFC or something like that?
DZFC, and then there's Flug also.
Maybe it was Flug.
Yeah.
I think it was Flug. He invited me to that one, but that one was categories, right?
I don't know about that.
Flug is Roto, and DZFC was half the year. The first half was Roto. The second half was head-to-head categories.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm not a big categories fan. I just don't like weighting stolen bases equal to home runs and stuff like that. I did Roto for many, many, many years, and I was actually pretty good at Roto. I'd win every other year or so, but you know, I like the points better. I like the simulations better. It just seems a little bit more realistic to me, but you know, I appreciated the invite. And Gout Wars, I haven't thought about it. Is it also going to be more like ABL or more like Flug?
It's more like a Roto, I believe.
It's AL only, NL only, Roto, and then I think that's pretty. I don't think there's anything funky about them.
It's not
like a half and half.
AL or NL only.
Yeah, AL only. The auctions, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and
one of my score sheet leagues is AL only, and I'm actually trying to get away from that. I like having access to all the players.
Sure.
Yeah,
understandable.
But I would at that time I'll probably be looking for a mixed league that's auction based, kind of like ABL. But really, 3 is going to be my max because I just I referee football in the fall. I work at school many hours. I work a lot of their game administration, so their baseball, softball, basketball, soccer games. I'm at most of that stuff. So just time commitment for me is a big thing. I can't handle. How many football leagues you in, Alan? About 20 or so?
25, yeah.
I just don't know how you guys.
I did work best. It's ridiculous. But I work at home, and I have a lot of time where I'm not doing a whole lot, So, and my wife,
I don't know if
my wife tolerates it. So,
and I'm probably work the least out of all of you. I don't know if you know my personal. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, sorry. My wife can even hear me, and she knows that. It is what it is. But that's what allows me to do as many leagues. I don't have.
I'm scaling back. I'm scaling back on my baseball next year. Like I do a lot of but I'm scaling way back. I run one with Tony and I. We ran an NL only this year that got decimated by injury.
Acuna.
And I'm probably like those kind of casual leagues like on RT and stuff. I'm probably going to drop those and focus more on the serious stuff. And football is easier. Football is quicker. It's easier to set your lineups. You only have to mess with it 1 or 2 days a week as opposed to some baseball leagues every day.
I've cut probably at least half my baseball leagues already for next year. Just because, I really want to get down to where Mark is, like the 3, but I know I won't just because I love the spread and the layout of having more than 3. But the ABL is, I don't know if I've ever encountered, and it's only year 1, but I don't know if I've ever encountered a fantasy league like that. Have you had anything come close to that or better than that, Mark? Or
no, and I've mentioned it several times. I went 1-51, but I had more fun in ABL this year than any other. I've won championships in other leagues, and this year was just great. It was a blast.
That's because you're sitting on a giant stack of blank checks. In the form of high draft picks.
But that's the beauty of the league.
And I'll have a lot.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got 16 picks in the first 2 rounds over the next 3 years. I like that. I also will have a lot of money in the auction next year. I don't know what's going to be out there, but I'll have a lot of money to play with. I have some decent keepers, and then of course I've got a lot of. My 20 prospects I'll put them up against anybody's really.
And I told Mark earlier, I'm like, let's save ABL shit for when I do the ABL pocket. Let's just while we're on the subject, let's not gloss over the fact that one of his picks came in at least one of the Strasburg deer, where I ended up getting like 2 1/3 innings, all told out of, I don't even remember what all I sent you. But you're definitely going to probably end up getting the better end.
Well, I got Tyler Soderstrom and a first rounder for sure. I can't remember what else.
So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've got about 6 or 7 top 100 guys. Rankings I know could be
pretty
anything,
much consensus. I think no matter who if you look at Prospects America or Baseball America, whatever it is, I like Imaginary Brick Wall. I know there's a couple other, but I think they're pretty much consensus top 100. It's not like anybody's on the fringe and over here he's 97 and over here he's 121 or whatever. Like you have some consensus top guys, and then the picks to get consensus top guys in first year player draft. So
I'm looking forward to building it
for Cleveland.
And I know I probably told you two this before, but it was part of the original strategy. Was either it was a big, huge boomer bust team that I drafted, that I auctioned for, Strasburg, Thor. I mean, back in January of this year, Edwin Encarnacion was still a possibility. And if the NL had gone DH like we thought they might, then he probably would have latched on somewhere. He was trying to get to 500 homers. I figure he was good for 15 to 20. Of course, that never happened. I had, Wander and who else? Joe Adele. Neither of them broke camp with the team. Neither of them really came up until much later. So it just,
or too late, yeah.
And I had 8 starting pitchers to start the year. Of course, Thor was one of them, so I really had 7. But I was down to 3 midway through April. So it's like
you knew pretty early, yeah. You had the luxury, I guess, if you want to call it that, of knowing very early the direction that you needed to take, and you did. You went with it early, and then you just kind of, sat back and watched other people scramble and. There's teams like me and Adam or whatever that, didn't know if they were going for it, didn't know if they were dumping.
Yeah. That was definitely an advantage to be able to dump early and take it in that direction. But at the same token, I never neglected that roster. I kept starting the best players. I mean, I still tried to win a game or two. That's the beauty of how it paid. The payout of paying.
You got there.
$1.50. I got that one. I'll never forget. I was playing. I want to say it was Milwaukee, maybe. I think it was Milwaukee, maybe even before Zach took it over.
Yeah, it had.
But I had like a 60-point lead going into Sunday, and I thought this is going to be my first win. But then he had some starter. I can't remember who it was. Pitch a no-hitter, or pitch a great game, and then he had a few other bats go off, and it's like. My 60-point lead just evaporated, and it was crazy. He had like 96 at that point, and he scored like almost double that in one day. I was like, good Lord, I can't win for losing in this
only
league.
had to deal with that once. That Sunday hope getting zapped away from you is a terrible feeling. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully next year I'll have it more often, right?
Yeah. I will confirm. I've talked to Mark a little bit, privately. We've discussed trade, stuff like that. And we talked about the hockey league, I think, is what led into this conversation. Like, you said to me, this is not how you like to build dynasty teams. You're usually not a seller. And am I recalling this right? Like, you're not a seller and draft pick collector, but you wanted to give it a shot.
Yep. That usually I'm a medium risk type of person. I like to get those vets. I don't like the youth. I like to get the known quantity. But in the way this was structured, that there was no contracts in the very first year, it allowed me to take a bigger risk. Mm-hmm. And if it would have paid off, I mean, it could have been a really great team. Because you remember I have Chris Archer and Julio.
Oh, I tried to get him from you multiple times.
Yeah, I had some known quantities there, and if they would have all clicked, I would have been a contender. But especially with Thor, if Thor would have come back on schedule and Wander came up earlier, but I knew that going in. I knew all that going in, and it was like, I've got enough name value here that if this doesn't work, I can blow it up and really set myself up for 5 years, 10 years in this league. But we'll see. I mean, that can always blow up too. You just because the hit rate in
baseball, you never know, man.
Yeah, when you're looking at a 20 to 15 to 20% hit rate in baseball these days. So we'll see. But I've never done it this way before, so it was fun, and it's going to continue to be fun. I mean, I'm going to love spending those picks on something.
And Alan and I said we talked when he told me we got you lined up this week. That I said I wouldn't be surprised if you win 2 out of the next 5 AL Central championships. And I'm saying now I'm not putting that as lofty expectations. I'm just saying look at the Tigers have their budget's high. The Twins went for it, and the White Sox went for it.
Yeah, but those three are all very savvy owners, so I can see them retooling and staying in the hunt there. I think I've mentioned this before. There was only a handful of teams left when I joined the league, and I saw one of them. I think was Milwaukee. It was Milwaukee's. But I saw that Jeff was in there, and I saw that Duke was in there, and Frank was in there. 3 executive committee members. I was like, I don't want any part of that division, so I jumped over to the AL Central, thinking, this will be a breeze, and it's been probably the toughest division out of all of them. But the Royals, they're not bad either.
No.
But with John overspending, there might be an opportunity there. It's too early to tell. I mean, we'll just see. But
before you know it, we're all going to have our contracts in, and we're going to have a good idea of what teams are going to have to spend. And then it's going to be looking at who do you think, how much competition am I going to have for this guy? How much competition am I going to have for this guy? And now how much money do I think it's going to be fun, but it's going to be anxiety inducing, especially when the thing actually starts up. When we get to that point, then it's real. And
so I don't know what's more exciting, the contract day or draft day. Because when we see all those contracts, I don't know how Duke's plan to release it. You may know some of this, Alan, but I don't. It's going to be exciting to see, holy cow, okay, this guy's out there, or wow, why did that guy keep that guy this salary, or look how much salary the guy. I don't know which part's more exciting, seeing all that or the actual draft. Because you could argue either one. They're both exciting.
Well, there's going to be a lot of fun moments. I'm looking forward to when he does the draft lottery. I'm looking forward to when we do the actual first-year player draft. Obviously, I'm going to have 2 picks in the lottery. So, there's going to be a lot of fun events throughout the course of the off season. But
that auction is going to.
Yeah, I plan on having around $200 going in, so I think I'll be able to buy
be a spender. Yeah, Cleveland's going to be a spender.
But we just don't know what's going to be out there. Yeah,
I will say I'm planning on that 180 to 200 too for my team. To have 180.
Yeah, you guys are probably 2 of what's going to have the most expendable cash in the entire thing. We probably have 2 of you guys right here. I mean, and your plan is that I don't think we're, letting any cats out of any bags to say that, you guys just say you're going to have a lot of damn money, but that's what we get to talk about when you see who's getting kept is, okay, we know both of you are looking to go into the auction with roughly the same amount of money, but are you going to want to go the same direction? Are you going to want to spend it on the same guys? Maybe not at all. It's when you get to the point of when the auction was first going, I remember I ended up with Longo for $3, and that was not by design. It was just because oh my God, there's no third baseman. What am I going to do? Every time you get on and you look for more guys and they're not there to add, I don't know. You just kind of it's a weird kind of freaking out that you do internally because For me, it was my first dynasty. I'm looking at my team like, oh my God, I'm really like setting myself up to have a big gaping hole in my lineup for who knows how long. Like I have to grab somebody. And maybe if Longo didn't get hurt, it doesn't end up the way it did. But
yeah,
I like that anxiety, but it also, it's what has me like scribbling notes everywhere and trying to figure all this shit out. And then I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. The strategy goes out the window once you ring the bell,
Well, it's definitely a challenging league. A lot of great owners. So I mean, and that's what's going to make it last for many years. So.
Oh yeah,
I think so. I hope so. But I think so. Yeah. So all right, we're encroaching on 2 hours. I said I wanted to go 1. I apologize, Mark, if I really kept you from something.
You gave Harry 4 hours. What? Can you...
Yeah, but that's like it's condensed because he's Southern Hemisphere. When you
like the time's different. Like
yeah,
upside down hours. What is that?
Yeah, like an hour.
The way that I don't know what Harry. I'm sure we've all noticed he's been a lot on the Discord, like a lot less than typical. I don't know if he's experienced. I know they locked down because they had like one case. They locked the whole country down. I don't know if. Obviously he would still have internet. Maybe he's just working a lot or something. Harry, hope everything's okay.
But Harry's the smartest of. No discount to you, Mark, but like the smartest owner on the hear me out on this. The smartest owner that we've had on the podcast because he got paid while he did the pod. He was still working. Boy, I don't think we've had a podcast guest who still worked while doing the pod and got paid to be on the pod.
You could have called me earlier. I mean, I could have done this at around noon or so.
If you want to be technical, Tony, I'm like never not working. Like if you want to be like super technical about it, I literally never have like a minute off. If you want to be, But Harry was clocked in and got paid to do the pod. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We gave Mark roughly half the time that Harry got. I told Mark earlier, I'm going to take over as host because Tony tends to drag shit on, and I want to only go an hour. And here we are, an hour 47 later, and I know I've done a lot of talking. So, do you have any last? You want to get anything in before we go for the night? I mean, you're going to be on again, so don't feel like you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys. It's been a fun league. ABL has. I think the AFL's off to a good start. It's going to be very competitive. And I look forward to hopefully launching the AHL. It's going to be a challenge, though, because trying to find that many owners that are into hockey is always difficult. But
I'll be around the town.
Yeah, so yeah. So, yeah, like I said earlier, I'll probably put out something here in a week or so that kind of gives us an outline, gets us started on that. We can start working on the Constitution. One of the main things, I'm going to have like division commissioners. So we have 4 divisions in hockey. So I'll be overall commissioner, but we'll have 4 others that'll form the executive committee. And those division commissioners won't be in their own division, but they'll be over a division. So if there's any issues, any type of lineup situations, they'll be managing that division. So, I'm putting some fine tuning on that outline, and hopefully I'll have it ready here in a little while.
Right on. Yeah. So everybody watching, if you're into hockey,
I know off the top of my head, I can think of 3 people in the town that I live in.
Oh, good.
I would be interested.
And I think
we obviously want to give presidents to the owners already in the network.
Yes. So I'm sure Zach would probably be in because he's still in the hockey one with me. I think Jeff mentioned he would be interested if he can get the Blues. And I think there's probably a few others. I bet we could talk Josh and Squibb into it. They seem like they're game for anything.
I think Sam is a gambler. I think we could, even if he knows nothing about hockey and he's still following along because I see him commenting, I think we could get Sam to commit it.
If the buy-in's high enough, yeah.
I can see it. I can see it now. Is Wayne Gretzky available? Can I? That's typical Sam. And just real quick, in this hockey league that we're in, that Zach and I are in still, Connor McDavid went for $36 million in the
Out of
auction.
80?
Out of $81.5 million.
81.5. Wow.
He also signed Leon Draisaitl for $25 million. So 2 players for $51 million.
Oh my God. Wow.
He's going stars and scrubs big time.
That's kind of what I was wondering is how I was going to approach the auction, and I was leaning more towards a star, maybe not that much of a stars and scrubs approach, but I do think that's the way I was going to go.
Yeah.
But I hadn't got as far as.
There ended up being a lot of value in this draft. In fact, I overpaid for 2 or 3 guys that I was able to dump one of them, but just because of how high some of these salaries are going, we had upper teens, 20s for a lot of these guys, and I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
You maybe had some guys that had not done an auction before.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, there's some of that, and it's also a hard cap. So I don't think a lot of these people understand the difference between a hard and a soft cap like we have in the ABL, where you can go over it. But it was interesting. But I'm hoping that team will fare pretty well. I can win that first year and drop out. So.
How did you? Do you want to handle the auction the same way they did, or what's
no? We'll probably find I'm not even 100% sure we're going to do the auction because I don't want somebody spending $36 million on Connor McDavid. So I don't know what we're going to do. I might do it more like what we did in ABL, where first year there's no contracts. So if somebody does overspend, like on like Lenny did on, who was
Acuna.
Acuna.
I think that's right,
yeah, then you can just drop them and there's no penalty. In this hockey league, he's going to have McDavid for 4 years at $36 million. If he up and leaves next year,
you're stuck.
Yeah, that new owner's going to be
hard to find people to take those teams over. Yeah. That again, we've said it a million times. Duke did we've had stuff that we've had to tweak and everything, but that Constitution is the best thing I've ever seen in a league I've ever been in. It's not airtight, but it accounts for what you want to account for. It even accounts for making it easier for the guys that are inevitably going to have to take over dumped teams. And we had a couple this year, and they didn't have to deal with it because, like Mark said, there's no contracts. So they can come in, and Steve, immediately tried to make the Orioles his own. He made a lot of moves. Josh came in and tried to build for his future.
The Brewers guy too.
These guys all were able to pretty easily do that. Now, maybe it's because it was year one. If they came in next year and some of these guys had contracts attached where it's not as easy to trade them or whatever, then maybe it looks different. But I think, especially for a startup, that's the kind of stuff you want in your Constitution. The kind of thing that protects everybody, and even the owners that you haven't even met yet are being protected. Guys that that you don't, that aren't even a twinkle in your eye yet, that because the team hasn't disappeared or the owner hasn't dropped out, but it's there and it works the way it's intended to. That's the idea.
Yeah, the new owners that we've gotten in the ABL have all been great, I think.
Well, and think of the schmuck that Zach took over for.
Yeah.
Quit the hockey. Like, Zach.
That guy was a huge schmuck.
Zach is in the consolation finals in the ABL.
Mm-hmm.
And he can win. He can make profit. I don't know how.
Well, it didn't take much for him because he's in, he didn't have to pay year one.
But that just adds on to Mark's point of it makes it easy to get replacement owners in the setup because you can take over a team, and if you're an semi-active owner or overactive owner, however you want to say it, was how Zach did, he turned that team into nothing, and he could win the consolation bracket.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a favor to Sam here. He's down to 1% battery. So we're gonna cut short barely under 2 hours. Mark will do it again, probably more ABL centric. That seems to be what we want to talk about anyway. But thanks for giving us 2 hours of your Wednesday, and Thanks, Sam, for watching. Thanks, Tony, as always. Whoever watches in the future, thank you. And we will see you on the next one. Take it easy, guys. Thanks.